Hey everyone, my name is Shakrez or Kalebot, and today I'm on Foxdrop's channel to talk about one of my main champions, who is Skarner, and hopefully give you some good tips on how to dive into Summoner's Rift with the Crystal Vanguard. Okay, so first off, let's take a look at the changes and his overall kit after the rework. Now, his passive, Energize, is still the same and a key component of Skarner's kit. Every auto attack reduces your ability cooldowns, and alongside some cooldown reduction, this allows you to have your ult up faster than expected, so remember to use it correctly when farming the jungle. His Q, Crystal Slash, no longer has the annoying permaslow effect. Instead, it now gives an attack speed bonus that stacks up to 3 times. His W, Crystalline Exoskeleton, is still a shield, but no longer gives attack speed. That was moved to Q. The movement speed boost is now better, but it takes up to 3 seconds to ramp up. His E, Fracture, is now a slow instead of being a heal mark. Skarner will slow his enemies for 2.5 seconds when he hits them with Fracture, which is a line skill shot. His ultimate, Impale, remains almost the same. With the addition of a 0.25 second immobilize on the target Skarner decides to grab before he actually does grab the target. This is to guarantee that your targets don't flee when you cast the animation. It's barely noticeable, but it helps. Okay, with a quick skill breakdown out of the way, let's take a look at strengths and weaknesses that came from the rework. And starting with the pros, he's tankier, so Skarner's shield is now on a lower cooldown. Not only that, the shield strength is actually stronger. Problem is, you now need to put points into your slow that makes your shield weaker early to mid-game, but this means you're stronger in the later stages. Another pro of the new Skarner is more consistent attack speed, which translates into more cooldown reduction and more damage. Now, old Skarner used to have this problem where when his shield broke or ran out, he'd lose his attack speed buff. Being moved to the Q means that he can keep up the attack speed steroid while clearing the jungle or fighting. This ultimately means 2 things. 1. More DPS, and 2. Lower cooldown on abilities. Remember that his passive reduces cooldown on abilities with auto attacks, so keeping the attack speed buff means you can reduce the cooldowns faster. The third pro of Skarner is better gap closing. This will definitely take a bit of practice, but remember your W takes 3 seconds to ramp up and then goes for another 3 seconds at max speed. This means that sometimes you might want to activate it a bit early for ganking, and the range slow also makes it easier to close the gap. Now on to weaknesses. Number 1, less sticking power. Now, Skarner lost his permaslow. Getting to target is easier, but when your slow runs out, what can you do? Well, not much. And this brings me to my second point, which is less flexibility in terms of builds. Now, this is a direct consequence of the lack of sticking power. You need something to make up for it. Now, in my opinion, Skarner is now kind of pigeonholed into building Iceborne Gauntlet to stick to target. Whereas before he could run something like Trinity Force to improve his stickiness, now he needs Iceborne Gauntlet to have some stickiness. So, now that we've covered the basics about his kit, let's turn to things that can make you a better Skarner. Starting off with runes, there are 2 setups you can run, one being the typical setup for most junglers, which is attack speed marks, armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs, and movement speed quints. Now, this setup works on most junglers, Skarner is no exception. However, I prefer to run attack damage marks over attack speed marks. This is because Skarner already has an attack speed steroid and doesn't need more attack speed. So I compared actually both jungle runs and they're pretty much the same, difference being that attack damage is a better stat for duels, which Skarner excels at. The third setup I like to run consists of taking 6 cooldown glyphs and 3 magic resist per level glyphs. This is to have extra utility, but I wouldn't advise this versus heavy magic damage. For masteries you usually see 0.21.9, this is a good defensive mastery page, however I prefer running 5.22.3, grabbing extra damage and cooldown reduction on offense and the extra movement speed from the utility tree. Skill order is now a bit harder for Skarner, since now he actually needs his E, whereas before you wouldn't need to level it up before level 13. Now, maxing Q is your first priority as you need it for jungle clearing and dueling. After that, the choice is more between tankiness or a better slow. Now, after testing, I concluded that you're better off maxing your shield second. The extra tankiness and movement speed really help, and the overall level 1 slow is enough as it lasts for 2.5 seconds. Now then, onto the build, and this is where I see most people building Skarner wrong or in a less effective way. For your jungle item, you want to rush Spirit of the Elder Lizard. It synergizes awesomely with your Q because it applies a true damage passive. You'll deal a lot of unexpected damage. Ancient Golem is a viable alternative, but I'll only pick it up if I'm really behind. After that, I get my tier 1 boots and Glacial Shroud. If the game is going well, I'll get Iceborne Gauntlet and possibly Sunfire Cape, and if I need more resistances, a Spectral Cal fits nicely before you complete Iceborne Gauntlet. Boots really depend, but they can be either Ninja Tabby versus heavy armor, Mercs versus heavy CC, Swiftness versus comps with a lot of slows, and Mobility Boots for overall better movement in teamfights. After these items, you'll want tanky items. Depending on the enemy team, you'll want cookie cutter tank items like Sunfire, Randuin, Spirit Visage, or Thornmail. If you're looking for an extra offensive item, consider either Wit's End or Blade of the Ruined King. Last but not least, some tips and tricks for you guys. 1. Remember to use your passive. In the jungle, you want to use your Q and your auto attacks well spaced, and you want to auto between your Qs because you want to keep those cooldowns low so you can use your ult as much as possible. Second one being never get outsmited, because you can actually ult the enemy jungler and he cannot smite when he's suppressed, so that's a really good tool that Skarner has. Number 3 is don't ult or use your slow immediately when chasing. If you know that you can get close without using your abilities, you can then save them from when he's actually trying to escape. So, I hope you guys all enjoyed my in-depth Skarner video. You can all head over to my channel and watch the Skarner gameplay I have over there. If you liked the video, remember to like, remember to subscribe to Foxdrop if you haven't, and to me if you haven't as well. And I'll see you guys in the Rift. Chakra signing out.